that I have for sure. Um, my name is Anindya Singh Obi. It's easier to remember my last name because it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have 23 years of experience in IT consulting, bringing in new business, and I have failed at two startup ideas in the past. What I'm presenting today is as a founder and a CEO of an early stage startup, where this time around we are doing things very different. This time around we are representing a $20.4 billion industry of white collar workforce, people who are just like me, people who are desperate to listen to stories that their 5-year-old brings home. But what we are forced to do is work overtime. And the core problem for that is the 40% of our time is spent and our skills is spent on low value tasks. So that pushes us to make time outside work for things that matter to us, like maybe be an AI strategist, or be a leader to your team, or work-life balance, or just finding time to play tennis with my daughter. On the other hand, the solutions in the market currently are all large language based, which is to predict text, to predict content, or sometimes predict one specific use case in a task. What we are looking as a solution is a generalized solution, a generalized product, wherein that's where we are bringing in our product called HuTouch, which is short for human touch. We are building a large model that predicts the data that is required for low value tasks and personalization that is required for execution of the low value tasks. We are a team of four, and we have AI expertise, startup expertise, and business development skills. With that, we have been successfully able to build an MVP for our HuTouch, which is for currently for software developers. Using this, the software developers are able to save at least 25% of their time in coding and non-coding tasks. For example, a software developer can convert detailed specs of an entire UI to convert it to 70% reliable, reusable code in just one prompt. GitHub Copilot or Cursor AI cannot do that today. We are looking for $3 million as an investment to take us from MVP to creating a foundation for viral growth. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Anindya, for your presentation. You're right on time. All right. So I'm going to open full of wire pitch deck here. And I'm going to ask Nelson Chick to present his startup. And Nelson, you will have the regular 5 minutes timer. And please pay attention because 5 minutes go really fast.
So I don't control the we don't share the screen, and I don't control the. I might tell you next slide.
So you tell me next slide, and I'm going to advance the presentation to the next slide.
All right. Well, that's kind of okay. Why is it
All right.
kind of off there a little? All right, there we go.
All right. So
Ready?
let me know, and I'll start the timer.
Okay, so I saw a problem, I used my knowledge, add my passion, found some inspiration, and eureka. Next slide. Next slide, please. I found a solution that I call airfoiling, which is you suspended like a pendulum below a cable you're rolling down, and at your feet is a wing, your airfoil, which you use your body movements to harness the powers of aerodynamics, do all kinds of wild and crazy stunts while you're zooming down the face of a mountain. Imagine a half pipe that's not 100 feet, but now thousands of feet long. And thanks to a twist in the physics, that half pipe is now 3/4, maybe a full pipe.
Nelson, sorry. Can I ask you guys to mute all of your microphones because there is an echo and I don't want to disturb Nelson with his presentation, okay?
Okay, you ready now?
I think, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so where was I? Okay, so I found a solution that I call airfoiling, which is you suspended like a pendulum below a cable you're rolling down. And at your feet is a wing, your airfoil, which you use your body movements to harness the powers of aerodynamics, do all kinds of wild and crazy stunts while you're zooming down the face of a mountain. Imagine a half pipe that's not 100 feet, but now thousands of feet long. And thanks to a twist in the physics, that half pipe is now 3/4 to maybe even a full pipe if the conditions are right and you're really good at riding your airfoil. Next slide. Next slide. The problem. I'm afraid we went too far there. We missed a slide there. The problem. I'm afraid the hundreds of ski resorts have closed due to lack of snow. The ones that remain, on average, their seasons are much shorter. And according to Scientific American, by mid-century, of the 22 sites that held the Winter Olympics, 18 of them will not be able to do so again. Next slide. Next slide. Now, the allure of airfoiling will be that it'll be more exciting yet safer than skiing and snowboarding. Being suspended from above, a novice is never going to fall on their face, so it's going to hook them faster, but on the other end. They'll have the added access to pitch to have fun with, and wind will play a much greater role. And that means it'll be harder to master, and that will send those that need to be the best at they can up the mountain as often as they can. And if that isn't enough, not needing snow, airfoiling will be an all-climate, all-season sport. You'll be able to go airfoiling in the tropics. Next slide. Okay, the money. The money will come from a combination of business, consumer sources. Designing airfoiling runs, the construction thereof, business. The manufacturing of equipment and related equipment, business, consumer. And people being people, they're going to want to compete. So they'll just have to set a professional airfoiling circuit. That'll bring in both business, and business consumer money streams. Next slide, please. Okay, so we all know that a startup needs two things. It needs to address $1 billion market, and it needs to be disruptive. Well, tens of millions of people spend tens of billions of dollars every year skiing and snowboarding. And climate change is doing all the disruption Foil Flyer will need to grab a big old hunk of that billions with airfoiling. Next slide, please. Okay, there are currently 4 gravity board sports: skiing, snowboarding, surfing, and skateboarding. Airfoiling will be the 5th. Those are all worth billions on their own. Now, airfoiling will be more exciting and safer than all the others. Airfoiling will be more accessible than all but skateboarding. What that means is the other participants in those other sports will be naturally attracted to airfoiling because it's going to give them more adrenaline for less danger, and they'll be able to do it more often in more places with the exception of skateboarding. Next slide, please. Okay, so we need to introduce airfoiling to the world, and to that we need a proving ground. An ideal proving ground would be a high point on sheltered waters in an urban environment. Here in the San Francisco Bay Area, where Foil Flyer is located, we have access to a boat with a mile of cable. There are plenty of idle cargo cranes sitting to be utilized. For $1 million, Foil Flyer will be able to prove, perfect, showcase, market, manufacture, and sell airfoiling. Next slide, please. My name is Nelson Hychik. I'm Foil Flyer's Chief Adrenaline Officer. Come airfoiling with me, and together we can taste adrenaline's rapture. Thank you. And I've got 40 minutes to spare. Woo-hoo.
Thank you very much for being on time and for your presentation. And now we'll have some time for investors to ask questions.
Nelson, I'll just start off because I know the other guys will probably ask you the same thing. What do you intend to do with that $1 million? That's one thing. Another thing, as I mentioned in a chat to you directly, I grew up in Canada in snow country. I grew up in Quebec. So I'm very familiar with the stuff you're talking about, and I've worked with entertainment groups, for example, in Las Vegas, believe it or not, and in the Middle East, in Dubai, because you can do this in Dubai as well, indoors. I think you have something very interesting, but what's the $1 million going to do for you? How far are you going to get with that, and what are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm going to prove the concept. I'm going to perfect it. I'm going to showcase it for the world. I am going to market and start manufacturing and then sell it to sell it. I mean,
Well, I would, and we've also dealt with most of the large sporting brands, including Adidas and others, but one of the, especially the ski brands. I'd like to talk to you more about it. I don't want to waste everybody's time here, but do reach out to me with your deck and so forth. I've sent you a text message in the chat.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Where are you in LA?
I'm near Marina Del Rey.
All right, pretty area.
42 years.
42 years. Yeah, I spent some time in Southern California.
Well, I came from the snow country, got lucky, got a scholarship to USC, and I never went back. So that's the end of that.
Oh, you're a Trojan. Well, I'm a bear.
Well, sorry.
My mother was a Trojan.
I can't fault the Annenberg Foundation for funding my education, so we'll take it from there.
All right, Doctor. Suck your sack. All right, I'm here. Any other questions? Wow,
If nobody has any other questions, the other thing I wanted to just tell you is we need to do a job on your deck. It's lacking in many ways, but I won't get into that right now.
Hey, so real quick, Nelson, thanks for doing that. I've got a little background noise. I apologize. This is Dave Culver. So where is this first location going to be?
it's going to be on Pier 98 here in San Francisco. That's where the cargo cranes are idle.
Oh, okay. And then, but the goal is to have it into these ski slopes, right? Former ski slopes.
That and anywhere. It's what's the beauty of this is not needing snow. I can do this in the tropics. You know, so I'm not limited by airfoiling will not be limited by a season or a climate like skiing and snowboarding.
So just as a quick thing from an investor, I don't want to hear that things are unlimited because that means the costs are unlimited. What I want to hear is where is the first or the next or the top 3, 4, 5 of these? So do you have some specific places picked out for these other than the pier?
No, I do not.
Okay, that's okay. Just have them next time that we talk. And I'm interested. One of my co-founders for a company we built is based out of Utah. And he moved there from New Jersey because he wanted to snowboard and ski and everything in its different season, right? And we had created outdoor gear and apparel company. So I know a bunch of people who are very much into the adventure sport, if this isn't what you want to call it, but cool stuff like this. So a lot of athletes, former athletes, whatever you want to call them. So just reach out to me as a short version. My contact information is in the chat. Thanks.
All right, great. Thank you.
And I'll just add to what David said. Sometimes you can bite off too much, and that's the other issue with a lot of people who make presentations here is they're trying to do too much at one time. You pick one thing and you make it really work, and that's what's really important. But where I see this as a global enterprise. But how you get it to be a global enterprise is probably not where you want to go. Where you want to go is to prove it. And if I was you, I'd be looking at investment from some of the big brands that we know. I've mentioned some of them before. Because the biggest money you're going to spend here is marketing.
Yeah, actually, I reached out to Burton Snowboards and we were talking about it, and then the founder died.
No, I think the bigger brands are the ones that will go for this because they can see the value in it. And we did something like this, not like what you're doing, and it was a water-based thing in Las Vegas. But you'd be surprised, even in Dubai, and I lived in Dubai, they have skiing indoors in these massive malls. And they have skating and everything, and the Middle East would go nuts for this, absolutely nuts for this, and so I like to show it to the people over there as well. But we got to get you packaged properly. That's the thing.
All right.
Yeah, and just saying thanks, Jack. I was just on our previous investor call with one of the guys. I don't know if you know Felix, who did the Red Bull jump from from space from like 100,000 feet.
Dowager or something like that. It's a bowing. It's a long name. Feel like that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was the immediate longest fall or whatever from space from a balloon. And then there's the guy who beat him was on our call. His name was where's my French? Goodness gracious, I've got it somewhere here. Anyway, don't want to take up any more time. But anyway, so guys like that might be very interested in this. Red Bull would probably be very interested in sponsoring something like this, even if it's not like super fast. They would. It's their type of thing, or somebody like that. So there's probably a lot of sponsor dollars that could be brought in that would make the cost to construct much less if you get a good sponsor.
Thank you, David.
All right. So we're out of time, essentially, for your presentation, Masa. At this point, we usually open breakout rooms with the founders. So investors can go in and talk to founders kind of one-on-one. But tonight we are kind of small group, and I would like for us to kind of open the mic for everybody that has questions about the pitch, about the inventions that we saw tonight, or to the investors for the next maybe 15 minutes before we close the event tonight. I hope this is an idea that everybody will accept.